beginning to believe that the people don't really care um, about New Yorkers, and when I mean people, I'm talking about politicians. Um, Politicians, they don't care about New York City like that, man. They don't care about the people in New York City. They care about New York City as far as uh, money-making metropolis, but that's it. That's it. It's not about really taking care of people, man. I don't know. I don't know, because each day that's going by, each day that's going by, the reality is setting in. Like for those who really don't believe, but each day that goes by, it's harder to come back. It's almost like when you leave school, like when you graduate from high school, for example, and you take some time off before going to college. You might get a job, but your plans, were set on going to college. The more, let's say you're not even working, you're just not in school, you're traveling, you're doing whatever it is that you're doing while you're out of school. The more time that goes by, the harder it is for you to return to college, for example. It's almost the same thing. The longer these businesses are shut down, the longer the harder it is for people to come back. The harder it is for business owners to retain, to hold on to their business, to reopen. Each day that goes by, it's harder and harder. There are people who are hungry in the streets. Do you think that the education that the kids are getting right now is quality? It's not. It's not. It's not good quality at all. It's a joke. It's a joke. This is a mess. This is catastrophic, people. It's catastrophic. And folks are, I guess it's because they're still receiving their salaries. The people that can really make decisions from a legislative point of view, they're not out of work. They're not off any payroll. They're not on unemployment. They're not waiting for a stimulus check. They're not waiting for a second wave of a stimulus. They're not, they're not feeding. They're not going on, food banks, waiting early hours in the morning outside of churches to get a ration, a portion of food. I mean, this is what's going on in New York City. This is what's going on in New York. And the people, it's like no cries are being heard. If it's not to the tune of what these leaders want to hear, and it's on both sides, it's on every side. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, it doesn't even freaking matter. It's on everybody. Everyone can get it. Everyone's responsible. All these leaders in this White House and the Congress and in Senate, House of Representatives, local officials, everyone's responsible for, who are supposed to really make a difference and represent the people. They're all responsible to me. They're all responsible or have to be held accountable to some point. President on down. This is I mean, what the hell, man? What the hell? There's this thing of wait and see. Wait and see what? Wait and see how bad things can get. Wait and, what are you waiting and seeing? What are you waiting to see? What are these politicians waiting to see? How well this debacle of a CARES Act has done so far for the economy? Untold millions of people. No one even knows the exact figure of how many millions of people are unemployed in this country. No one really knows the exact figure. It's not. Is if you think it's 38 million, don't be fooled. It's more than that. The other side, they'll say, well, you want to run outside, you don't want to wear a mask, you don't want to practice social distancing, you're part of the problem. Okay. The other side will say, well, if I go outside and I'm not practicing social distancing and I'm seeing people close to me actually die, then what do I have to say for myself? I became part of the problem. It's just these, while the people up top comfortable receiving their earnings, taking breaks to make decisions to relieve people from the suffering. It's not about relieving anything. It's about creating more discomfort. It's about creating more pain. It's about creating and enacting more control from both sides. From both sides. Now they're saying, why don't you take these voluntary tests, a voluntary test to see if you've had COVID, a voluntary test. You know what that's going to turn into, right? It's going to turn into a mandatory situation. Soon enough, absolutely. Which brings these hard questions and these hard discussions and debates regarding civil liberties and rights. You have to have information pretty much plastered on your forehead now that you had or have COVID, no longer have it, to keep everyone safe or to keep certain people in the know, keep everyone in the know. No, there's not an abundance of supplies. It's still not true. It's not this. There is no abundance of supplies. The abundance of supplies come from, I don't know, because I don't see it. People are getting fired who work in healthcare for sounding the alarm, for at least doing something to whistleblow, to create some type of awareness and make noise. People are getting fired. Healthcare practitioners are getting fired. In the hospitals, these frontliners that everyone is, hero, calling a hero, they're getting fired because they're trying to actually help patients. Some of them are trying to help the patients and to keep them from dying, or to speak up and defend those who have died, are getting fired. No one can give you a precise date. No one can give you a precise date as to when this is all going to end. No one in New York City can give you a precise date. And we're supposed to just sit there and take it. Nothing is like what you see on TV. Don't believe a word of what you see on TV as far as what's going on in New York. Because again, it's two parallel universes. It's two realities existing, parallel universe, coexisting realities. What you hear on TV and what's going on the ground, two different things in many respects. In many respects, people are suffering, like really suffering. Their minds are going. They're decompensating. People are decompensating. And it's not just about just because they're home. Being home is allowing people to decompensate as well. Staying home is allowing people to just become just lose control, lose hope, become just depressed, fragile, enraged, self-destructive, violent. And I'm looking at the governor. He's sporting a suntan. Sporting a suntan. Every day there's this talks. Every day, you know, we're listening, or not we're listening, but they're on TV every single day, without fail, giving a report. It's almost feeling like it's a session to be hypnotized. To be hypnotized by some information that's not supported by a wide body. You'll often hear, these are the facts. This is what science is telling us. This is what the data is telling us. And there's always an opposing view, an alternate view to the facts, an alternate set of facts against the facts. Now there's talk somewhere of where, the coronavirus is not even something that lives on the surface. I mean, but you know what's constant though? Each day that goes by, it's harder for businesses to reopen. Each day that goes by, we hear that stuff like there's $1 trillion being parked somewhere on deck. How true is that? And does anybody really care when you're suffering today and you're in pain today, and you're hearing about somebody wants to wait and see what happens to you when they're ready to respond? They want to wait and see how desperate you're going to become. They want to wait and see how well you will succumb to deprivation. How well will their plan unfold for you to wither away in pain? Certain people talk about the revolution is now. The revolution is now. It's the revolution. The moment just came and it went. If the revolution isn't going to happen now, it's never going to happen. What are people waiting for? What the revolution is waiting to see? As well, politicians are waiting to see how well the CARES Act is doing. How well the CARES Act is doing. And would-be revolutionaries are also waiting to see when they're going to revolt. That's what it seems like. But the people here in New York City, the people here who are at the bottom, the people here where we don't know where there's going to be a time to reopen. Have to hold the bag and wonder. Have to hold the bag and what? Pray and hope and have some faith to not fall under the grips of an invisible monster, of an illness, and not fall under the grips of extreme poverty. I mean, can we be serious here? I mean, hearing about poems today, and the other day it was something else about just like these stories to try to appeal to the people and have some kind of human connection. But each day that goes by, it becomes harder and harder to come back and reopen. And finger pointing and blame game continues, and this is just where we are, man. This is disgusting, man. Like seriously, seriously, kids are just, completely traumatized by what's going on, directly or indirectly. So many people are aimless. There's so many adults who have no clue, who used to be stable and just become completely insolvent. Their lives just like that. Completely changed, upside down. Folks who have no savings had to make a way, continue to have to make a way. folks who've had some form of a cushion gone. But these people want you to wait and see. This is how this is what they think of the people. This is what they think of you. You have a group of institutions, of health institutions, that can't even follow one accord. So where do you think they can't even follow one accord. They can't even keep it together because why? They'll say this is unknown. This is something that we've never known before. We've never seen before. And so we have to just hope and pray we come out of this.